Hey everyone, how are you all doing? Today we're taking a look at my custom Marvel Legends Black Widow and Yelena Belova from the Black Widow movie. And originally I was just going to do Black Widow because I had no plans on doing the Yelena Belova because I didn't like the original figure of that. But then I was like, well, let's change that. So I tried to do an entire whole thing on her. It worked and everywhere except for the head, which we will get into in a moment. But let's take a look at Natasha first. Also, how good was the movie? My God, the movie was amazing. But for the head, I just used the Endgame head from the Endgame 2-pack. I repainted the hair in its entirety. I went over it with another dark red, and then I put a black wash throughout. And I also repainted the like blonde end here. I left the silver though, so you could see her little hair clip tie. And then I repainted the eyebrows with a little bit of dark red and then some black, and then I went over that with a dark brown because I didn't like how the black looked, because her eyebrows are not super bleached like this 2-pack's head originally was. And then for the eyes, I put a black line underneath her eyes because they didn't put any sort of line underneath her eyes, so it didn't look like how Scarlett Johansson has looked as Black Widow at all. I'm actually pretty happy with how the head turned out. That's the only thing I did beside, and then for the body, I just put some black paint right here on the arm because there was a gray splotch. That's all I did for the body. But then for her batons, if you have this figure, you know that the batons stick up about like 14 feet from her actual backpack. So I took, because I had like several of the extra Killmongers from the Killmonger and Ross 2-pack, I took those Wakandan blades that were like rectangular shaped and kind of curved in a little bit. I took those and I snipped off the hilts of them, so then I could just set them in here whenever I'm not using it, so they actually look how they do in the movie, that they sit pretty low and all that. I'm very happy with how she turned out. Nothing's hindered, nothing like that. Oh yeah, also I actually did, for this head, let's see if I can get the head off real quick. Ooh, that's being difficult. Okay, well anyway, I don't want to try to tear that ball off because then I'll ruin all my hard work here. But I did cut the peg in half. Like I cut about halfway. So if the ball is about that, I cut down to about here because the head sat way too high on the original one. So whenever I put this head on, it was way too high and way too loose. So I halved the peg and then, or not half the peg, that's sticking it up high. I cut the peg in half and then I put some sticky tack in there so it wouldn't fall around the entire thing. And then as for Yelena, for her suit itself, I just put a gray wash over the entire thing and then, you know, dabbed it off and all that stuff. I added a couple of the silver buttons here. That one's a little sloppy, but I added some silver buttons. I added the gray lines across here. I wanted them to be a little dirty and I didn't go over them like several times because every time I tried to do the gray straps around her arms, they just started to fade off and I don't know what was going on with that. So I just made them look dirty. And then as for her head, I did what I could, honestly. I drilled out a hole in the back, put Elektra's ponytail on here. I cut up Malekith's head, or his hair, and then cut out little strips so then she could have the kind of messy updo look kind of thing going on that she had towards the end of the movie. I tried to do that, and then I repainted the hair several times, tried to get her roots and everything right, even repainted the entire face. I did what I could. This head sculpt is shit, honestly. This is probably Hasbro's worst job for a head sculpt because this looks nothing like Florence Pugh. Like the base version of this looks terrible. My repainted version looks even worse because now it just is relatively sloppy on camera, but whenever you look at it just normally, it's not as bad. You know, you can see like the fine details on here, but the head sculpt is just terrible. It doesn't even look anything like Florence Pugh. Her face shape is completely different from this. Everything, like from the side, you can kind of see a little bit, like you can kind of see her face outline and nose a little bit, but no, I wish someone would make a third-party head. That thing would sell like gangbusters. I don't know why no one's done that, but if someone does, I will be their first customer because this head sculpt looks like crap and I tried to do what I could to fix it by giving her the better hair and everything, and it didn't really pan out as well as I wanted because I even tried heating up the head to like squish it a little bit and it didn't do anything. And just to show off some of my other customs along with, they are next to Loki from Loki, which that video will be at the very end, so you can see that. I'm not quite sure what, I don't know what happened with this version of this figure, but for some reason this one leg is a lot shorter than the other one. You can see it right here exactly. There they are alongside that Loki. And then here they are next to Scarlet Witch, aka Wanda, and I haven't done anything to this figure. Weirdly enough, you would have thought that this would have been one of the like top ones that I would have went crazy with and made it look as accurate as possible because this is based off concept art and it doesn't look anything like how she did in the finale. But I haven't yet, and I don't think I'm going to, actually. If I were to ever come across one, you know, not for $60, like most people are trying to resell her for right now. If I ever come across one, maybe I'll buy it and do it. But as it is, I like this figure, so there's really no reason for me to do it. And speaking of accurate, just a quick little kit bash that I did. Actually cut this piece on the Mandarin so he could have more range in his legs, but I gave him the stealth suit, the black suit version. I gave him those hands so it actually matches how he looks on the posters and in the trailer that we just got. So yeah, there's the Mandarin alongside Black Widow and Yelena Belova if you want to have them face off against him. Why not? So yeah, that's gonna do it for me. You know, let me know in the comments what you think of these customs. This is the one that I'm proud of. I'm proud of the suit on this one, but the head, you know, there's really no saving it. The head sculpt is just, the base head sculpt is bad, and I tried to fix it, but there's nothing I can do. Let me know what you all thought about these customs down in the comments below, and I will catch you all in the next one. See ya.